Hello, ladies, gentlemen, and otherwise. I'm Lamar Haven. Welcome to Remember 11, The Age of Infinity. Remember 11 is a game by the same people who brought us 999. It's actually an earlier game of theirs. It's part of its own series, but the series, as my understanding, isn't directly connected. The games aren't directly connected to each other. So, I figured, why don't we play one of those? I love the 999 series. I won't be able to play VLR for stream, but I will be able to play not Virtue's Last, the other one, new one. That's coming out soonish, but it's not coming out for PC until the end of the year. So I figured we should tide ourselves over with some of the other games that the team's done. So why don't we go ahead and get started and see exactly what we're dealing with. I should explain, Remember 11 is pretty much purely visual novel, as opposed to 999, which had the puzzle, locked room stuff. Remember 11 is basically all visual novel, so there won't be much gameplay. But yeah, don't worry, it's in English. That part's Russian because reasons, I think. I'm a seagull. These were the words uttered by the first woman in space, Valentia Tereshkova. All alone aboard the former Soviet Union spaceship Vostok 6, floating in the void of space, a place of complete silence and emptiness, with a hollow feeling of isolation upon her. Yet still able to draw the parallel between herself and a seagull to express the liberating feeling of breaking free from everything. I'm a seagull. Such beautiful words. If it were me, I'd never be able to come up with something so clever. I'd probably try to sarcastically say I'm a girl trapped in a cage. Now, if you think about it, would that really be sarcasm? A lonely girl locked away in a tiny, narrow cage? Right now, I'm somewhere as close to the heavens as I'll ever be. Might need to turn the volume down. Tiny bit. That was surprising. 33,000 feet in the air. January 11, the first day. Go on. No, you want to. Hello? Game? Let me check something real fast. Hello? Oh, there it goes. Finally. That was weird. Who's that behind you? Suddenly, the world around me disappears. Someone from the seat behind me has covered both my eyes with their hands. Who's that behind you? An angel? Who, I wonder? Pull the hands away. I'm gonna go with who, I wonder. Who could it be? Who could it be? I wonder who it is. Who do you think it is? No one traveling with me on the flight. I boarded this plane by myself. I don't have the slightest idea. Oh, so this is just some random person. Goody! Judging by the voice, which was still undergoing the changes of puberty, it would only be the boy sitting in the seat behind me. Oh. Palms that covered my eyes were pretty small. It's useless. I give up. I give up. I raised both my arms and spun my wrists playfully. Are you sure you give up? Yep. Well then, I guess I'll have to tell you. The correct answer was... Heaven is here. Kusuda Unikun. Turning around, I found as I expected, a boy who looked to be about elementary school age. He was leaning over the headrest with an innocent smile. Kusuda Unikun is what he said. I didn't remember hearing the name anywhere, nor having ever seen his face. I see, Unikun is it? I don't know if the main character is a guy or girl yet, so I'm just gonna go with just my normal voice till I figure this out. You'll have to give me moments, because, this is completely blind, so when I see a character for the first time, then I'll start thinking about what voice to actually give them. That's a cute name. Thanks. My friends often tease me about calling you Unishiro, or Unit Bath, though. His shyly smiling face was friendly and charming. Also... Away? Okay. Hey, Oni-chan, can I sit next to you? I really wish I remembered which one was brother and which one was sister. I don't remember. One or Oni or I don't remember. See here, it's free, right? Took a glance at my wristwatch. There was still a lot of time before we would reach our destination. Wristwatch probably guy? Come on over. I patted the seat by the window. Boy who had introduced himself as Uni pounced onto the seat beside me, and suddenly, as in a game of musical chairs, where the music would stop. Hey, well, there was something I was curious about. You mind if I ask? What is it? When you were singing the Kagome song earlier, you sang Yaoke no Ban, Evening Lit by the Dawn, right? What do? If I remember correctly, I think that part should be Tsukio no Ban, Evening Lit by the Moonlight. Evening Lit by the Moonlight? Right, because Evening Lit by the Dawn doesn't really make much sense, does it? When it's dawn, the sun rises in the east, and at night the sun sets in the west, right? Look, I may have messed that up once in 999, but you don't have to hold that against me, game. So, is that the way you sing it when you were a kid, Oni-chan? I didn't sing as a child. Evening Lit by Moonlight. Yep. I gave a confident nod. But I think Evening Lit by the Dawn is how it should be. Uni said so while picking at the chipped nail of one of his fingers. Because after that, the next line goes to Kame, a crane and turtle. Ushiro no Shomen, right behind you, in front of your back, right? Dawn and evening. Crane and turtle, the back and the front. Well, two things make up a pair by being the opposites of one another. Light and shadow, yin and yang, male and female, imaginary numbers, real numbers. This whole world's made up of elements that contradict each other, but at the same time they coexist within another. How old are you? You sound like me at that age. I think that is what the Kagome song tries to say. That's why Evening Lit by the Dawn would be much more fitting than Evening Lit by the Moonlight. I see. I groaned without noticing. That being said, my interpretation may not be completely correct. The song still has many mysteries to it. Mysteries? What kind of mysteries? Well, let's see. For example, what does Kagome mean? What is the symbolism behind the bird within the cage? Why did the crane and turtle slip? Did they have to slip? And then there's the... Who's that behind you? As he hummed that phrase, Uni took off his glasses. He covered his eyes with his own hands and turned around. Right now, I can't see anything at all. They say that out of all of our senses, sight is responsible for 8/10 of the information that we humans gather, you know? That means that right now, I'm only able to feel a mere 2/10 of everything that's occurring around me with my other senses. Remaining 80% is vague and unclear. I have no way of knowing what Oni-chan's doing behind me right now, what kind of expression she has on her face. She! Okay. I'm apparently supposed to be a woman. My mistake. I will fix that. Right now, Oni-chan's existence was many unknown to me. When I heard wristwatch, I assumed guy because it's really uncommon for women to wear wristwatches. Until I opened up my eyes and turned around, what's behind me is still undecided. Just when Uni was unable to see my face, I was unable to see what kind of expression he had on his. I was only able to see his back. A small back. How old are you, anyway? After a slight pause, I asked him that. 11? Holy shit! You're too young for this kind of thought. Damn! Uni turned around and his eyes still covered. He peered at me through his fingers. Thank goodness, you're still here! His cheeks lift into a broad smile as he laughs. His smile is certainly that of an 11-year-old. The internal stuff, I'll probably still just use my regular voice. What just happened? Weren't we on a plane? This doesn't look like part of a plane. Straining my ears, I could still hear the sound of the wind. Outside, the snow was still blowing violently about. I held my breath as I stood in front of an iron door. We're emphasizing I. Huh. Beside the door, a small red light was blinking in the darkness. The card reader that controlled the lock on the door. The treacherous red light gave away its location. I put my hand in my pocket and pulled out a single key card. Satoru Yukido. Number 1331-2223-9801. I traced the engraved letters with my fingertip. Yukido Satoru. Satoru. That is my name. I haven't ever really liked that name very much. I twirled the card in my fingers and spun it around. I inserted it into the reader's slot and let it slide through. Beep! The light in the card reader turned green. The lock opened and the door opened just the slightest crack. I pushed it open and stepped into the darkness as if drawn by something. Kokoron is 20, isn't she? That's what he said right after I introduced myself. I had told him my name, Fuyukawa Kokoro, and then had a little chat with him about the place of our destination. However, I hadn't given many hints or clues that would help him guess my age like that. How did you know? Impressed? He threw his head back to the seat and made a sound with his nose. Maybe I'm psychic. Come on, stop playing around and tell me. Let's see. I can tell you, but in exchange I have a favor to ask. A favor? You see, I'm not really good with the zoom. Zoom, there's a part where it goes zoom, right? Huh? Well, you know, right? When the plane gets to land, it descends rapidly with a zoom, and there's a point where you feel light, as if gravity disappears. Weirdly, with my acrophobia, that's actually my favorite part of a flight. Sorry about that. I had to adjust something real fast on my scene. So it's weird to me that, like, I dig the whole... Basically, I like planes in general, which is super weird. Well, yes, and? So, when the plane starts descending... Look at me with upturned eyes, Uni continued. Would you hold my hand? Unconsciously, I burst out laughing. However, the expression on Uni's face was so serious, making fun of him just didn't seem right. Even though his words at times showed wisdom beyond his years, inside he was still just a child. Well, if that's all it is, then be my guest. Really? That being said, there aren't many boys that are allowed to touch me as they please, you know. So be grateful. I gave his head a little poke, and he blushed as he jumped into my arms. Oh well. So what's the answer? You're about to tell me how you knew my age, right? Ah, yes, well... When he said that, Uni let go of my sleeve and stretched his arm behind his head. It's this. This was stuck to Kokoron's hair, so... His hand fluttering object, which he presented to me. The object Uni was holding between his fingers was... a feather? A small white feather, soft and warm, as light as soft as down. Our section's small spiraling stairs continue higher and higher up. Let me check something real fast. Okay, right control. Oh, okay, so that's how we open this. BGM Animus. Okay, I'm gonna... Tips. Oh, okay. Even though the term was used to be night in general, originally used to describe a period of time between it says that in the time when night begins. Okay. R, the symbol for radius and ratio, represents an arc extension, the 18th letter of the alphabet, the symbol for right, and also the R from the title of this game, Remember 11. Letter R is full of significant meanings. So every time we see one of those blue, letters or something, it adds to the tips? Interesting. You hear my keyboard a lot, that's because I am forced to use the keyboard on this. So just keep that in mind. I want to check some other stuff. Whoa. What button did I just push that caused that? No. Okay, not pressing that button. Siren scales made sharp, cold sounds as my feet continue on their journey. And David played his hands as at other times. And there was a javelin in Saul's hand. And Saul cast a javelin, for he said, I will smite David even to the wall with it. I didn't think of the words coming out of my mouth as my own. It was as if some sort of spirit was whispering them into my ear. I will smite David, even if he avoided it twice. The entrance I was looking for was near. Thankfully, this constrictor I was making my way up didn't have a head. Perhaps before it could finally strangle its prey, its head was cut off. The cogwheels of the clock tower made an eerie noise. Rattle. It sounded as if a spell was being cast, one to take over time for all eternity. A feather? Yep, a feather. That was in my hair? Yes, it was on the back of your head. I had no idea why a feather would be there. Kokoron, you didn't take a bath yesterday, did you? Hey, that's quite rude of you, you know. Tider Pro, hello, good to see you. Yeah, that's quite rude of you, you know. And for your information, I'm pretty sure I did take a bath yesterday. Your name, Temmie. That's a lie. And why would I lie about something like that? Because Kokron's eyelids are a little swollen. It's from a lack of sleep, isn't it? Seeing that, Uni took a mirror from his pocket and placed it right in front of my face. Right? Ah, so that's our main character. Just as Uni had said, my eyelids showed a slight tinge of red. It was true that I didn't get much sleep last night. Last night I was in a rush to prepare for this trip, and before I could meet her, I wanted to fill my head with as much information as possible. When I finally got into bed, the sky was already growing light. Well, it's a fact I didn't get much sleep. But how did this and that have to do anything with one another? Was my lack of sleep related to Feather, or to my age for that matter? No, don't rush me. I'll explain everything in order, okay? Uni snapped the folding mirror shut and slipped it back into his pocket. That's an awfully big mirror for a pocket. 1, 2, why are you holding around a mirror anyway? It's a bit strange. First off, let's confirm the date. Today's date is what day of the month and what year? It's fine, Bro. You're okay. It's January 11th, 2011. Tuesday. Wow! 1/11/11. Okay. Now what day was it yesterday? June 10th, Monday. Coming of age day? Yep. Now then, that's where this feather comes in. He said as the feather danced in the palm of his hand. When girls put on their kimono for an event, they wear shawls over their shoulders too. Of all the materials to make shawls, the most popular is the feather of the white goose. And so the feather I'm holding in my hand right now is most likely. I don't need to see any more, do I? In other words, I wore a shawl over my kimono when I was attending my coming of age ceremony yesterday, and it was then the feather came off the shawl and got attached to my hair. The coming of age ceremony is like a big event where you invite all your friends from elementary school and middle school to meet up, right? When you find out your first crush is now so homely you don't even recognize them. And that the plainest girl in class become beautiful enough to make you jealous. Anyway, one chance encounter is followed by the next. You learn many surprising things, everyone's emotion gets stirred up, and energy fills the air. It's not hard to imagine being swept up in that wildly exciting atmosphere. Being carried along in a buoyant mood like that. So as the ceremony of coming age comes to an end, you went into an after party with another group of close friends. You also finally reached the age where you could drink alcohol legally too, right? When the first after party's over, it's on the second and third and the fourth, and before you know it, the sun's rising in the eastern sky. The result? Not enough sleep, red eyelids, and no time to take a shower. Kokron, with the feather still stuck in your hair, it's rushing to get on the plane at the last moment. So what do you think? I got all of it, didn't I? Why no stream Monday? I had jury duty. Hearing all the statements in quick succession left me feeling a bit embarrassed long before I fully noticed it myself. His eyes were sparkling and his cheeks were flushed with red. It's amazing how far you took a wild delusion based on a single feather. Delusion? This isn't a delusion at all. It's an extremely logical deduction. I see, so you're quite confident, aren't you? I guess. However, that extremely logical deduction is actually, unfortunately, completely wrong. Huh? Because I was actually born in February. I had my coming of age ceremony last year. As soon as I said those words, Uni's eyes opened wide, leaving two little dots where his cheerful saucer-like pupils were once before. His mouth was left half open in shock. That's a lie! And what about this feather? What about the feather? Life don't like Dragon Quest VI? I guess not. Why was this feather stuck in your hair? Who knows? Who knows, you say? Oh well. After all, we are high above the clouds here. It might just be an angel's feather, you know? An angel? Murmuring that in wonder, Uni turned and looked out the window. His flustered appearance resembled that of a live puppy that had just come face to face with a robot dog, and was all the cuter for it. I couldn't help but giggle quietly to myself. My laughs reached Uni's ears as his neck tensed up. There's no way angels could exist. Is that so? It is. Oh, either way, it's much more romantic than the goose feather explanation, right? So to decide something is true or not, you just check to yourself, see if it's romantic or not, and you come in the end and end up with, then you believe it? Once in a while, I guess. Having a logical basis for something doesn't even matter. Come on, I did say once in a while, right? Tider Pro, I wouldn't worry about it too much. I can only stream so often. I mean, there's bound to be canceled streams here and there. I usually average one canceled stream a week, just out of due to stuff out of my control. I can't prioritize streaming above everything else. If there's a logical explanation for something, then I'll believe it, but if there isn't one, I will choose the most romantic option. Pretty much. With a blank look on his face, Uni gazed absent-mindedly at the feather in his palm. He was utterly still, as if his soul had gone someplace else and let his body froze in his place. Hey, Kokoron, is it alright if I keep this feather? His eyes were downcast, only his lips were moving. Sure, but what are you going to do with it? It'll be a memento. Memento? When I asked that, Uni raised his head. Yeah, memento. That's why I don't ever forget that I met Kokoron. It surprised me how he could say those words so casually. Must have been his age. The brutal, straightforward frankness that boys my age don't possess, or rather they gradually lose with age. Uni still hasn't lost that gift. If Uni had been 7 years older, that short exchange of words would have left me so embarrassed and flustered I have to stand up from my seat and cool off. Because those simple words would have been so incredibly romantic. Right now I simply chose to say, "Aw, how cute." Without warning, I hugged Uni and messed up his smooth hair with my hands. I can't breathe! I'm dying, seriously, I'm dying here! More importantly, my glasses, you break my glasses! They'll break, I tell you they'll break! Save me, anyone, stewardess! Uni struggled like a cute little woodland creature in my arms. Aw, it's adorable. The alpha and the... I don't know what that symbol was. Tighter Pro, I don't give numerical ratings to stuff. Too much subjective nonsense, and it can change with time, and yada yada yada. So I don't bother. Just know I thought very highly of Undertale. There was a snowstorm outside. The snowstorm was so strong, I had to lean with my hand against the wall to keep standing upright. Alright, so this is the person, the other person, the Satoru guy, I think guy, that we keep cutting to, that emphasizes I. I'm not entirely sure as to why. I used my other hand to shield my eyes from the wind and snow. It was freezing. I almost strained my eyes trying to stare across the distance. I couldn't see anything. Sir Matt, hello! Good to see you. The entire landscape before me had been whited out. A pure white world where all depth was lost. It snatched away my sense of perspective, and I suddenly lost my footing and slipped. I clung to the wall with both hands to regain my balance. The clock tower was over 15 meters tall. If I were to fall from that height, I'd be very lucky if I were to get away with just a few broken bones. I glanced downward. My field of vision was filled with whirling plumes of snow, and the needle-like tracks it left as it blew across the roof. Lovely weather we're having. The words of cynicism I spouted out were quickly carried away with the wind. There in the freezing cold, I checked the time. I've never liked having anything attached to my arm, so my wristwatch was hidden away in my pocket. My eyes turned toward the panel of the digital watch. It's almost 4 p.m. It's almost time. I raised my eyes to the dark, restless sky. All this italic I was easier to manage in Japanese. I don't know, Tighter Pro. And I'd rather not know until I get an ending. Completely blind playthrough. Thanks, Sir Matt. Thanks for that. For an instant, a pale light cuts through the heavens. The sound of the winter thunder shook my body to its core. The weather continued to worsen. There were no signs of the snowstorm easing up anytime soon. Ladies and gentlemen, this is your captain speaking. We are currently experiencing some turbulence, and kindly request that all passengers return to their seats and fasten their seatbelts. We'll be feeling the tremors of the turbulence in just a little while, so please rest assured this will not affect the safety of the flight. I should just wait for the lagged question. Yeah, and like I've said before, if you ever wonder when I see a question or see something in chat, it will always pop up on the stream chat when I see it. As soon as I see it, it pops up there. So if you want to know how long the delay is, if you put something in chat and just keep track of exactly how long it takes for you to see it on screen, that's exactly what the delay is. Pilots always lie. Sometimes they will. I've actually got a story about that. Like when my dad was in the Air Force, but he was a mechanic, but he knew a lot about how obviously he knows a lot about how planes work and stuff. So one time when he and my mom were on a trip, I think it might have been a honeymoon trip. Apparently one of the engines of the plane they were on went down, and my dad was sitting on one of the engine seats, on the seats of the plane where you can see outside, and he saw when the engine stopped, and my dad, as a mechanic, was like, oh, that's fine, we got 3 more engines, this thing can fly perfectly fine with, 2. It'll be more than okay. So he didn't mention anything. So then, but their announcement did come over the intercom that said that didn't mention anything about the engine going out. And so at the end of the flight, when they finally landed, completely safely, mind, he mentioned it to some of the people and was like, oh, so problem with one of the engines? And they're like, oh, you noticed? And he's like, yeah. And they're like, thank you for not telling anybody. It's perfectly safe. We can fly with one less engine. But we didn't want to tell anybody in case anybody freaked out, because there's people with phobias and stuff. He's like, oh, yeah, I know. But yeah, they'll totally not tell you if there's a problem if they don't think it'll affect anything, because they don't want to freak you out. Ooh, an anecdote. Not even my anecdote. An anecdote from my father. Uni neither noticed the seatbelt sign nor paid attention to the captain's announcement. He was next to me, completely immersed in play fighting with a plush polar bear. Aww. Ta! Cha! Ria! Brazilian high kick! Brazilian high kick? It can only be the Armada con Martello! Delay test. I fastened the seatbelt for him. Even then, Nuni continued to play without paying attention to me. Well, I guess he's fine. I thought it'd be alright to leave him as he was. There was something I wanted to do before we landed. I took out a thick file from my bag. I fastened my own seatbelt and laid the file in my lap. The cover read, Awazumi Municipal Hospital Indiscriminate Murder. Case file. Ooh, a murder. I opened it to the first page. Because he wasn't pressured enough as he was. Yeah. About 20.40 seconds. Well, that's... Keep in mind that delay isn't always going to be 100% consistent. But yeah. Wednesday, January 14th, 2009. This gruesome incident had taken place in the winter of 2009, 2 years ago. The scene of the tragedy was Awazumi Municipal Hospital in Hokkaido. It was a 300-bed facility, well known for its most reliable general hospital in the area. The time was 4 a.m. Powdery snow fluttered down in the pitch-black night sky. Dawn was still a long way off, and the neighborhood was deserted and silence as death. Only the whispering of the falling snow reverberating somewhere far away broke the perfect silence. Is this like a case file, or is this someone, waxing philosophical about the whole situation? The figure of a lone girl had appeared in the front gate of the city hospital. She was not holding an umbrella. The powdery snow fell softly onto her shoulders and hair. She was as silent as the world around her. An on-duty nurse noticed the strange figure from the window of the third floor. So for what we know about what current time it is in-game, that means this happened about 2 years ago. The nurse thought that there might have been an emergency and quickly rushed down the main gate. When she got there, her figure was nowhere to be seen. This is a let's play or a let's read? Mostly a let's read. It's kind of the way visual novels work. But apparently there's going to be some choices I'll be able to make, and there will be some elements of interactivity. But not much, because it's a visual novel. It's kind of the point. The hospital was sound asleep. There was no one groaning in agony, no one weeping in despair. Only the faint sounds of calm and tranquil sleep filled the cool hallways. A sharp shriek had violated the silence. That's when it all began. The only voice we heard thereafter was agonizing, dying screams. And then everything lapsed again into silence. It took the doctor and nurses several minutes to notice that something was wrong. Ow. The nurse call sign lit up one by one, and then the alarm sounded, echoing throughout the hospital. The on-duty doctors split up and rushed to the sick rooms. Screams and cries echoed here and there, from room to room, from ward to ward, one after another. The patients rushed out of the rooms barefoot. They ran, jumbled together, trying to escape, making incomprehensible sounds. A sobbing girl, a ranting and raving young man, an old woman who stood stock still, covered in blood. In the twinkling of an eye, the hospital fell in a state of panic resembling purgatory. Ooh, boy! Blood and violence warning, folks. Holy shit. Terribly eloquent case file, he said. Maybe failed poet joined the police force. That's my suspicion. A lone doctor opened up the door to one of the hospital rooms. An incredible amount of fresh blood stained the walls and the linoleum floor crimson. A thin mist of spattered blood hung in the air. The sickening, persistent odor made its way to the doctor's nose and settled itself deep in his lungs. The doctor instinctively covered his mouth. 2 motionless lumps of flesh lay there, sprawled all over the beds. One had its chest brutally torn open, the right half of the ribcage sticking out of its body cavity. The heart was gone. He found it on the corner of the room, squashed flat like a frog that had been run over by a truck, as if someone had hurled it in the wall in a fit of rage. The heart had left a vivid streak of bright red in the milky white wall as it slid down to the floor. Pleasant! Yikes! Suddenly, someone grabbed the doctor's leg. It was another male patient. The patient's throat had been slashed open. The weak rasping sound of air escaping from the wound could be heard. Shocked, the doctor knelt down and firmly covered the patient's neck with his hands. The shadow has come. Those would be the last words he'd ever say. To this day, no one has yet been able to determine what those words really meant. According to the report, the first murder occurred near the entrance of the emergency wards. The victim was a male security guard. He was most likely killed trying to detain the perpetrator who had invaded the hospital. Thereafter, the perpetrator went from one hospital room to another, indiscriminately slaughtering patients along the way. Patients listed as murdered even included an elementary student. The patients, however, were not the perpetrator's only victims, and doctors and nurses who attempted capture were also stabbed. The final casualty count: 12 dead, 19 wounded. That is a lot of hurt people for one person to do. Holy shit. Even if a lot of them are helpless in hospital beds or asleep, that's still a lot of people. The final criminal act was committed 30 minutes after the first victim was murdered. And he did it in 30 minutes?! Holy shit! The perpetrator was cornered by the police on the rooftop and arrested. The murder weapon was described as a large pair of industrial scissors. To be precise, it's only half of a pair of pinking shears. I don't think they meant for you to take the title of Kill la Kill literally. The perpetrator used only one of the blades to commit murders. The other blade was never found, even after a thorough search carried out by the police at the hospital and perpetrator's home. The motive for the crime remains unknown. While in custody, the perpetrator remained silent throughout the whole of the investigation, never responding to questions of the police or public prosecutors. The motive for the crime remains unknown. However, a single phrase alone was spoken, one which could be considered something of a clue. Right before her arrest. Oh, it's a she! She had muttered something about as she dropped her blood-stained blade. Where is Self? Those were the details of the Awazumi Municipal Hospital indiscriminate murder case. Her name was Inubushi Keiko. Her age at the time of incident? 17. She was 19 now. Even though she was a minor, a crime so brutal would normally result in a severe penalty, which she would have no way of avoiding. However, her circumstances differed from the norm. In the end, she was found innocent. The final verdict of the Administration of Justice stated that Inubushi Keiko suffered from DID, dissociative identity disorder. Hey, they actually got the disorder name right. I can applaud that. I keep adding up numbers to look for digital roots, but they don't matter in this game. That is to say, multiple personalities. Penal Code Article 39. Those suffering from insanity will not be prosecuted. 2. Those who are mentally handicapped will receive a lighter sentence. She is currently being held for observation at a certain medical facility. Specified psychiatric hospital for isolation in Aegis. Sphia? Alias Sphia. Huh. Hold on. Sphia. Specified psychiatric hospital for isolation in Aegis. Since the revision of the Penal Code in 2007, several psychiatric hospitals were constructed in various regions across the country. The purpose of these facilities was to administer proper treatments for those who are suffering from mental illness and who have committed serious crimes, so they can be reintegrated into society. Layout of these facilities and the course of treatments there are undisclosed to respect the privacy of patients. All that's known about these facilities are their locations. Sphia, the facility which Inobushi Keiko is institutionalized, is located at Hokkaido's Aosagi Island. Alright, Aosagi Island. Located approximately 5 kilometers west of Riben Island, Aosagi Island, it was uninhabited until the construction of Sphia. It possesses no airport, and the only way to get there is by boat, which departs from Wakanai Harbor on a regular basis. Furthermore, entry in an island without government-issued permit is prohibited. Okay. DID is a real thing. I have a psych degree. Sir Matt. I complimented them on using the proper term for the illness. Seriously. Let's move on. Unless you're talking to Titan Pro. But in which case, I did literally say those things. That is my journey's destination. Get on this plane for the purpose of meeting her. Inobushi Keiko. When how many times I've read that file, it always makes me shiver inside. Because if you choose to major in criminal psychology, it'd be necessary to accept the reality of what's happened objectively and calmly. But the emotions that are burning within my chest weren't something I could easily suppress. It's for anyone to but they literally said pretty much everything already. They said it's dissociative identity disorder, multiple personalities. And I'm pretty sure most people know that it is an actual thing. Of course, it's never like what you see in shows or stuff. Never, never, never. Especially not with the whole real personality, multiple fake personalities thing. They're all fragments of a single personality. Is kind of the current thought. But the emotions that were burning in my chest, sorry. Without any hesitation, that girl had killed many innocent people in the cruelest, most perverse ways imaginable. I could think of more perverse ways than just stabbing people, but I mean, I'm assuming there were some other things. She did literally take out someone's heart and throw it against a wall. That's pretty bad. I'll be honest. She had even taken the lives of innocent children who had never harmed a single soul. No matter how crazy she was, I just couldn't bring myself to forgive her for what she's done. Pro, quit killing people. To be honest, I was filled with an intense hatred of Inobushi Keiko. I want to feel informed. Dodan, Bakan, Zabayun! The elementary school student murdered back then was... Oh, sorry. The elementary school student murdered back then was only 9 years old. If he were still alive, he'd be around Uni's age now. That thought made my chest tighten as I watched Uni play so innocently. In the corner of the room, engulfed in darkness, a young girl sat on the floor hugging her niece. Her tiny back trembled ever so slightly. She was sobbing quietly. A young boy put his hand on her shoulder. She glanced up at the boy with her tear-filled eyes and flung herself into his arms, embracing him tightly as if he'd disappear the moment she let go. I'm scared. I'm so scared. She kept crying as she held on to him with all her strength. The boy gently ran his fingers through her hair. It's okay, he whispered softly into her ear. There's nothing to be afraid of. Because no matter what happens, I'll be here to protect you. No, that's not it. The words left her trembling lips as she nervously shook her head. What I'm afraid of is myself. The person I'm afraid of is myself. Still, I'll protect you. Forever. You'll see. That's impossible. There's no way you could. Because Janile. Slender fingers dug deep into the boy's back. I'll kill you too. Ah! Abruptly, there was an unexpected noise, and then the inside of the plane lost gravity. The file in my lap slowly floated in the air before me, pages fluttering as if they were about to take off, and then fell from midair with a thud, as though tired and gasping for air. Before I could recover, the file crashed abruptly in my feet. The plane felt like it was drifting on ice. As soon as that thought crossed my mind, the plane was once again pulled down with frightening strength, as if it wanted to take us to the bowels of the earth. Screams could be heard from every direction whenever the cabin shook. And mingled with the screams, an undercurrent of fear saturated the air. Kokoron, I'm scared. Fall down. Uni clung tightly to my chest. Placed my arm around his shoulder and tried to calm him down. You know what? Last year, over a period of just 365 days, do you know how many people died in traffic accidents in Japan? Nearly 1,000. Earthquakes, typhoons, lightning bolts, and avalanches took 128 lives. The number of people who die every year from accidents at sea is over 1,000. The average number of people that are murdered is 1,250. So you know, compared to that, the chance of an airplane getting in an accident and crashing are 0.0001%. Do you understand what that means, Unikun? In short, being in the air is much safer than staying on the ground. Well, did that calm me down? No, now he has a phobia of driving! Uni didn't reply. He simply buried his face in my chest as he trembled all over. The bell in the clock tower echoed solemnly. I checked my wristwatch. Just about 4 o'clock. The clock tower told the time with not a minute of deviation. A metallic sound that was like the coarse voice of an aged man alerted me to the hour at hand. The snow danced violently to the sound of the bell as the raging wind stirred it, though what I saw were twinkling and sparkling particles of light. An infinite number of angels dancing and rejoicing at the advent of great gospel. Just wait. Just a little bit longer. Just a little bit longer until you... A bolt of lightning streaked across the ominous sky. The sound of the holy bell was denied by a roar filled with rage. The thunder continued resounding in succession, 2 times, 3 times, and the earth shook in unison each time, letting out a hateful groan. The flashes illuminated the sky with a pale light. Then, a shadow that I couldn't miss appeared in the light. The shadow came up from behind me and stretched toward my feet. Who's there? The cabin of the plane pitched violently back and forth, as if giant waves were making sport of a small boat. The passengers, powerless to do anything, let out pitiful screams. In the midst of the voice crying, voices screaming, voices praying. I looked at the window. I wondered when we had fallen to our current altitude. The world outside had turned a muddled gray. The tips of the airplane's wings went beyond the fog covering my field of vision. The wings were now bending inward like a huge bow might, looking as if they might break off any second. I quickly pulled Uni off me, pushed him onto his seat, and tightened his seatbelt with all my strength. In case something happens, curl up like this the way Pillbug does, okay? In case something happens. What something? Is this airplane gonna crash? It's going to be alright. Everything's gonna be alright. Just be safe, alright? No! I'm scared! Kokoron! Uni clung tightly to me once more. I forcefully pushed his shoulders back against the seat and tried to calm him down once again. Uni-kun, do Oni-chan a favor, and please listen to what she says. Just stay there, and don't leave your seat, understand? Why can't I? Kokoron, are you going somewhere? Don't leave me all alone. Don't be silly, I'm not going anywhere. Hey, even if I wanted to, there's nowhere else I can go now, right? But, come on, be a man. Don't you start crying on me like that. Look, I'll hold your hand just like I promised, okay? I firmly clenched Uni's hand. Large teardrops tumbled from Uni's watery eyes. For an instant, a flash of lightning rushed through the sky outside the window. A thunder snapping, crunching roar followed. I reflexively turned my eyes downward. The file was at my feet. The white page before my eyes was illuminated by lightning. Who's there? I turned around, saying this as forcefully as I could. There was the faint shadow of a person in front of the door. However, the fierce wind and dancing snow prevented me from seeing who it was. Even the silhouette was impossible to make out through the thick white curtain of snow. "Who is it?" I called out once again. The shadow gave no answer. It was slowly moving closer. Feelings of fear and distress began to grow inside me. I was backed in the corner of the roof by the mysterious shadow as it slowly drew nearer and nearer. The shadow didn't stop. Lightning bolts glittered in the distance like flames. The well-honed blade struck the earth. The silhouette could be made out in the backlight. In that instant, I finally figured out what the shadow really was. Reeling from the greatest shock yet, the airplane sunk rapidly. But now it was clear. The crew had no control over the plane. The small craft lost its balance completely, writhing and twisting like a snake. The lights had died. The darkness was all around. The sound of shrieks and screams. "Kurt Dog is now hosting my stream! I mean," stabbed at my ears. Hold on. I need to get the notifications moved slightly so we can actually see them. Thank you very much for the host. I appreciate it greatly. A maddened passenger began screaming. A strong jet of air could be felt blowing in from somewhere. The scent of oil penetrated my nose. And the next moment... Before I noticed, I was dancing in the air, released from all restraints. Time stops. Was he thrown off? The snowstorm stops. And I am swallowed by the pure white world. The particles of light dance around me. The sound of the bell still reverberates in the air, as if it was reciting the beginning of a solemn ritual. Divinely, gently, ever so softly, I start to dissolve within the light. All my senses are disappearing. My vision is gone. As if it were being slowly peeled away, my consciousness departs me. A deep sleep I came to know long ago. My existence, I am now here. I don't get a chance to see this visual novel cast on Twitch very often. Well, all I know about it is that it's made by the same people as 999, and it's recommended strongly by certain people. And I figured, might as well give it a shot. I want more 999, and I can't do VLR on stream, so... An explosion roared from a rift in the port side. In an instant, the aircraft was engulfed by raging flames. An ivory-covered mass fell from the ceiling. Slowly swinging back and forth like a lifeless body of a convict had just been executed. This might be the end. I tried to accept my coming fate. However, in my right hand there was a small palm, strongly, desperately calling for me. It's the I know it's the third in the series. I decided to skip ahead to this one because I don't think they're connected. What I read said they weren't necessarily connected. Enough that you need to play the others at the very least. Also, I just kind of, I don't want to do too many visual novels. I want some gameplay elements more so than most visual novels provide. This is sort of a one-shot thing to test the waters. Strongly, desperately calling for me. Even if it's only him that survives, I have to protect him. They are really connected enough to have to play them in order? Uh-oh. That's bad news for me, because I haven't played the other two. There are some minor things connected. Okay, minor things, but, I'm still gonna get the overall story and stuff. I won't let his warmth disappear from the world. Get down! I rapidly pulled the oxygen mask over Uni's face and forcefully pushed his head to his knees. Kokron, I'm scared. I'm scared. I meant to say not connected. Okay. Okay, thank you. That's more consistent with what I've heard. Save me, Kokron. I don't want to die. 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 Our altitude continued to drop. The airplane struggled violently in a last-ditch effort at resistance. By now the flames had reached the inside of the cabin, and sadistically licking the ceiling drew ever closer to our heads. It's going to be all right. Trust me. I'll definitely protect you. I held Uni's hand tightly. Yes, that's Satoru. I wasn't expecting music! Well, okay then. I think we're done with the prologue. And hello, Enrian. Good to see you. That was interesting. In the bosom of motherhood, I slowly opened my eyes. An unfamiliar ceiling, the scent of a freshly washed pillowcase. Everything around me seemed different from the norm. It was a bizarre feeling like I had never experienced before, a feeling that something was wrong, but I couldn't quite tell what. Where am I? Anything that's like internal monologue, by the way, I'm going to just use my normal voice, because I'll never know who's talking or who's thinking, and I think that's kind of part of the point until a certain time. That said, I will be trying to give voices to characters. I will be doing as many unique voices as I can, but I'm not a voice actor. So keep in mind, this is also about practicing and learning if I can do other voices than the ones I currently do. I turned my head and looked around. Some sort of room. A bed beneath my body. That's about all I could figure out. Everything else remained a mystery to me. I gathered all my strength and tried to get up from the bed I was laying on. Intense pain immediately shot through my body. I couldn't even understand where the pain was coming from. Every joint of my body, my muscles, my insides, all of them were crying out in excruciating pain. You were just in a freaking plane crash. You shouldn't be alive. I writhed in agony. What's wrong? You should be lying still. The door opened and a woman rushed in the room. She knelt down and gently helped me back into bed. You don't remember. Enduring the pain coursing through my body, I took a closer look at the woman's face. I'm sorry. Have we met before? She frowned as a confused look covered her face. Oh dear. I wonder if it's amnesia. Amnesia? So you don't really remember anything about me or this facility? Do keep in mind that the screen did kind of zoom in on our boobs a little bit there. That wasn't me. That was the game. I promise. I'm not in control here. I took a good look at the woman. Brown skin, ash brown eyes. Her features didn't give you the impression that she was a typical Japanese person. Maybe she was half Japanese. In any case, I could definitely say I haven't met her before. I'm really sorry. It's alright, you have nothing to apologize for. You probably hit your head. Falling from as high up as you did is no wonder. Uh-oh.
We're not Kokoro right now, are we?
Falling? A shiver ran down my spine as the word left her mouth. Buried memories resurfaced one by one as a myriad of images ripped through my mind. The plane... Never mind, I guess it is her. Maybe I'm jumping the gun a bit. I kind of saw, like, a screenshot of the game, because I was like, okay, I have to make sure this is the game I'm playing kind of thing. Long story. Okay, the short version of the story is I accidentally got the wrong game trying to get this game. Don't know how. So I had to double check, okay, is this what Remember 11 is supposed to look like? And I ended up seeing a screenshot or two. I'm really worried about what those screenshots mean. The plane filled with agonizing screams, the terrible explosion, the scorching crimson flames, the thick black smoke, and the tiny palm I held in my right hand. The palm pleading desperately for my help. Kokoron, I'm scared. I'm so scared. Help me, Kokoron. Where is he? Where's that boy? Did he make it? He made it, didn't he? I threw off my blanket and jumped up from bed. You're injured. That's going to be a bad idea. But the next moment... I never played enough to fully understand all of it. I do a lot of theories and stuff like that with games like this, especially with 999, one of my favorite playthroughs. I took a lot of time to just stop and think about what's going to happen next, whether or not the game would immediately answer my questions. So I'll probably do the same here. Hopefully I'll be able to get a lot of it. A scorching pain once again ran through my body, draining any remaining strength it had left. And once again, I collapsed back onto the bed. Come now, what are you doing? Can't you see your body isn't ready to move yet? That look of hers, filled with love and affection, reminded me of the Virgin Mary. A gentle smile, so kind, so beautiful. A smile so charming, it made me slightly jealous of her. By the way, it has already been spoiled for me. That there's multiple endings, but keep in mind, completely blind playthrough. That would have been a spoiler if it wasn't already spoiled for me. So, a smile so charming made me slightly jealous of her. She carefully tucked me back into bed. Amazingly, when the palm of her hand touched my neck, the pain and anxiety started to subside. Excuse me, could you please tell me? It's a visual novel? That doesn't mean it has to have multiple endings. I played visual novels with only one ending before. Basically, you're telling me a story element. Godot did, because he's super excited about this game. He loves the 999 series, and he's trying to get a lot of streamers to play it. So a lot of times, if he... at least my observation of his behavior, if there's a game he's really interested in getting people to stream, he'll stream it first. It's sort of similar to my thoughts, is if I know there's a game that a streamer's going to play that I'm really interested in, I'll try and stream it first, because I want to get an opinion of it first. Actually, the visual novels I play are like less than an hour long. They're indie, just free visual novels, but yeah, they're pretty short, but they only have one ending. What happened to the boy sitting beside me? Beside you? What do you mean beside you? The plane that crashed. There should have been a boy sitting beside me. He was 11 years old. His name was Kusuda Uni. When I said that, her expression suddenly changed. What is this? Eh? How would you know about him? What do you mean by how? A boy named Kusuda Uni just happened to be sitting in the seat beside me. That's enough! What are you people plotting? Plotting? You people? I can't understand what she was saying. When our eyes met again, her expression would just become cold and stiff, and she stared at me sharply. There was no longer any trace of that merry-like countenance we'd seen anywhere in her face. Who are you? Why are you really here? Why am I here? That's what I'd like to know. But who am I? Well, at least that's one question I could probably answer. I was intimidated by her coercive attitude, but I was able to lift my body and start talking to her. My name is Fuyukawa Kokoro. I'm one of the passengers in a plane that crashed. Before I could finish, a strong slap flew across my cheek. Ow! Stop messing around. There's some things you shouldn't joke about. The woman's voice had become hoarse. Her fingers and hands shook as if anger had filled her to the brim and finally boiled over. I was dumbfounded. I had no idea what was going on. Just what had struck a nerve with her. Was she hurt by something I said? I see, so this all was just a trick, wasn't it? All those odd things you said a while ago made me curious at first. That was just part of your act, wasn't it? Don't make me laugh. Are you supposed to be a medium or shaman performing a channeling or something? If you were to put out such a cheap act, wouldn't it have been better if you just asked me straight out right from the start? You know everything, don't you? I boldly opened my mouth. I think you're probably misunderstanding something. Please just stop already! Stop with this shameless act of yours! But I'm not acting at all. Then what are you planning? Why would you use the name Fuyukawa Kokoro? Because it's my real name. I'm a third year at the Kyomikan Women's University. Fuyukawa Kokoro. God damn these names! I was on an airplane going to Wakanai when the accident happened. Stop it! How could you possibly be Fuyukawa Kokoro? She declared firmly, face distorted in agony, tears of desperation welling in her beautiful ash-brown eyes. But, as I was still trying hard to hang on and gather my own strength, she hit me with something I had in no way expected. Is it really that much fun to be pretending to be someone who's dead? Eh? You're still trying to play dumb even now? The girl named Fuyukawa Kokoro is no longer in this world. She's dead. But of course you already knew that, right? No. Dead? What did she mean by dead? I was right here, wasn't I? I was still alive, right here, right now, wasn't I? I was pretty certain I was still alive. Why would she make up a lie like that? It's a lie, it had to have been a lie. But even as I thought that, no matter how hard I tried, I couldn't fight off the chill creeping up my back. I couldn't find a single word to say. My mind went completely blank. In any case, even though I don't know what your plan is just yet, if you really want to put one over me, I hope you'll at least try to do a better job of it. Leave me with a look of disdain, the woman walked toward the door. There's one thing I wanted to say, though. She stopped at the door and turned around and continued. Now that you've come this far, I have no intention of stopping with my plan, so don't you dare get in my way. What the hell is going on? In those quiet words she left behind, amongst other things, I feel a distinct sense of sadness. The closed-off structure, which I'm kind of going to wager a random guess and say it's the Sphia's facility. After the woman left the room, I became lost in my thoughts. There were a lot of things I wanted to think through. However, I didn't know where to start, and I definitely didn't have enough information to make sense of it all. I don't know anything yet. Where am I? Is Uni safe? Who is that woman? If I ever wanted to find out, I couldn't just stay here alone with my thoughts. I dragged my injured body out of the room. Seen in front of my eyes was quite surprising. A modern dining table and a set of rather uncomfortable looking chairs. Looking around, I noticed an induction cooker and a deep sink. Deciding to explore further, I entered a sizable open-plan living area. A sofa of clean, simple design stood in the center, and a huge plasma screen took up the wall. A spacious room with a high ceiling and a window. First, it gave off an air of freedom. Its straight, sharp lines, however, made you feel a sense of tension and strain here. There are no signs of life in this living area, nor is there any warmth. Just what is this place? I expected to see hospital trolleys everywhere, but it seems I was mistaken. When I think about it, I haven't seen any medical equipment since I stepped out of the room I woke up in. This place isn't a hospital. If this isn't a hospital, what is it? So you really don't remember anything about me or this facility? Facility? Facility for what? I was becoming more curious by the moment. I wandered around the room aimlessly, inspecting it more closely. There was a window in the kitchen. The window spanned the length of the wall, from the floor to the ceiling. Beyond the window spread the darkness darker than black. Occasionally, sparkling lights could be seen floating downward, most likely snow. There wasn't much more to be seen from that window, except for the reflection of the room I was in. Something resembling a computer stood on the desk near the divider between the living area and the kitchen floor. I say something resembling a computer because there's no actual computer anywhere to be seen. Yeah, it just looks like the monitor. 17-inch display monitor, a keyboard, and a mouse are all that stands on the slick white desk. The cables from the computer made their way under the flooring. The computer's under the floor. Weird. You would only do that if you wanted someone to have access to the computer but not the hardware. Curious. Oh! We're way past my first break of the day. I totally got caught up in what the game was doing. So, get up, stretch, whatever you need to do, be able to keep watching comfortably. And I will be right back.